And hello again. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, approximately, in Vancouver, British Columbia, on a flight to Seattle. You'll see it's dark out this morning at Vancouver, but by the time we arrive in Seattle, it'll be sunrise, or be dawn anyway. Sun won't be completely up, but it'll be up enough that you'll be able to see some of the sights in Seattle as we arrive. And so sit back and enjoy it, and we'll talk more as we go. We notice we've started our taxi now towards runway 8 left in Vancouver, and also be switching over to a different panel, one that's a little easier to see in the CRJ. It's called their 3D panel. And we'll be taxiing down the first taxiway, and then we'll move from that taxiway over to the main taxiway to get down to the end of 8 left for our departure. So just stand by and we'll see how we do. And I don't know if I mentioned it, this is Skywest Flight 4805 from Vancouver, British Columbia to Seattle, Washington. Our cruise altitude will be 17,000, but we're not going to make that. We're going to make about 14,200 at our first waypoint, and then we'll be starting down immediately into the approach procedure for Seattle. So, like I said, it'll be a pretty short flight, and we'll be just about ready to turn towards the runway now and take off. And we're going to hold here for just a couple of minutes, at which time you'll see the runway lights or the landing lights come on, and we'll start our roll for takeoff. Once we take off, we'll be turning to the south. It'll be a right turn to the south, and beginning our climb. One of the things you're going to see once we break ground and we turn south, you're going to see the rain that's in Vancouver right now. We'll be running into some rain and also some clouds as we climb up through our altitude to our first waypoint, and up to 14,000, I think it's 14,200 at our first waypoint. So, and there'll be a couple panoramic shots shooting at Vancouver on our departure, but significantly when we take off, you'll see the rain hitting the windshield as we depart Vancouver to the south. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot to look at flying at night. But a few clouds will appear, and once we get closer to Seattle, you'll start seeing some of the cities in northern Washington, and some more clouds. You'll be able to see the bay around Seattle, but right now we're sort of looking out in the vast nothingness of the night sky. And we have started our descent into Seattle, and you'll soon start seeing the skies light up a little bit, and the bay coming in on the right side of the picture. As we approach Seattle, I'll point out a few other things as we get closer in, but we'll be landing on runway 16 Center, which is a southbound runway. It's the center of 3 runways. And we are under the control of an air traffic controller who is giving me some specific instructions, which I'll relate to you as we get closer. At this point, we're approaching Seattle. Notice the landing lights are on and shining on the clouds again. They are a little bit cloudy, but we will get under that cloud layer. You'll see that later as we approach the airport. One of the things to look for is off of the right side of the aircraft. As we get down a little lower, and then was just before as we start turning into our final approach, you will see the city of Seattle, and most notably, if you look real close to the right side, right down in the right corner of the screen, off to the right, you should see the Seattle Space Needle as we pass to the north and east of it, and it'll be down a little bit away from the main city. It'll be to the right of the main city. You'll see it standing there by itself, and you'll get a couple chances to get a glimpse of it. So you should be able to see it as we pass by. We won't be close to it, but it'll be far enough away that you'll be able to recognize it by its shape. So just keep an eye out for that, the Seattle Space Needle. And once I see it, I'll pan over toward it a little bit so you'll be able to get a better look at it. Now, off in the distance, you should see the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport straight ahead of us, and we'll be turning into the final approach for the ILS instrument landing system into runway 16 center. Meanwhile, if you keep your eyes open, you may very well see the Seattle Space Needle as we pass by here very shortly, or we would have passed by it by now. Keep your eyes open for it. It's out there someplace. And right along out the right front side of the aircraft, you'll see the Space Needle standing up there. The city's directly in front of us, and you'll see the Space Needle off to the right side just before we make this turn. And then you may see it again once the turn's made. You may see it one more time before we bring up on our final. And as I indicated before, we did have an air traffic controller on with us for this last portion of the flight. He was the Seattle region or approach controller. And one of the things he did ask is that we do have traffic coming in behind us and wanted me to maintain my best forward speed to the airport. So I was maintaining 230 knots until 1,000 feet above the ground, at which time I cut the throttles and made the final landing. As soon as we get the ground and hit on the ground, you'll see we'll make won't be very long till we get to the taxiway and turn off the runway so we're clear of the runway, allowing the traffic behind us to arrive without being held up any. And later on, as we're taxiing, you'll see that other aircraft coming down the runway and pulling off onto a taxiway to our right front. That's another flight simulator that's parking and also at the south satellite where we're parking, only about 3 gates away. So you get a chance to see that, and then we'll be following him around into the gate where we're going to park. Now, as you can see, we've cleared the runway and we're on the taxiway. We'll be crossing. We've been cleared to cross runway 16 left onto the Alpha taxiway, and we'll be turning to the right onto Alpha. Then, as you'll notice, as we go down a little ways, you'll see the aircraft that was in trail of us. You'll see him once he gets to a point where he then makes his turn onto the taxiway. You'll see him taxi off to the right front. In the meantime, we're turning off landing lights, leaving our taxi lights on, cutting a few other of the instruments that we don't need. You notice the autopilot was turned off some time ago, and now we're turning towards the south on the Alpha taxiway, and we'll continue on this taxiway down to the south satellite of SeaTac, Seattle International Airport, where we'll be parking, following that other aircraft that was landing behind us. And now you can see the other aircraft that was landed behind us, and we'll be going on down the taxiway a little ways. He's been cleared to cross runway 16 left and cleared to park taxi to parking. And he'll turn facing us, and I'm not sure where he's parking, so I stopped short of the taxiway to allow him to move ahead of us. And then when I saw he was headed into the south terminal, then I was able to turn and follow him as parking. He'll be parking a few gates from us. He'll be parking first. We'll see where he turns into his gate, and then we'll pass him by, and we go on to our gate. So you should be that. That is another flight simmer. Don't know who it is or what his call sign was right offhand, but you'll see he's turning toward us right now. And then momentarily he'll be turning to his right, our left, and then we'll be following him into the gate. And then we will go to our gate. Again, this is the Seattle airport, and we're parking at the South Satellite. One of the nice things about this X-Plane 10 feature is it does have the 3D mode that you're looking at now, which gives me the ability to rotate the screen a little easier, and also if I had my IR tracker headset on, as I turned my head, it would also turn so I could see out the various windows of the cockpit. I don't have that now. I'm doing it all manually with some buttons on my yoke to help me see. And you'll notice when we get to our gate, it's real easy to park at our gate because it's easier to scroll over that way and find to line up, which is the gate we're approaching now. We'll be able to line up easier on it and pull straight into it. So, and then get to where we know we can stop when we get lined up with the concourse and that will come up to the left side of the airplane. So we're about done. I want to welcome you to Seattle and let you know that we'll be flying a Seattle to San Francisco leg next, and not sure when I'll have that done, but when I do, I will post the movie of that on YouTube as well, which will be the Seattle to San Francisco leg, which will be another Southwest flight. So looking forward to you seeing that one when it comes by. We're just about stopped at the gate here, pulling up a little further so we can get lined up with the door, and we'll see what happens. And here we parked, and we're shutting everything down, turning off all the power, getting the APU up and running, and saving this particular flight so that the next time we're up, we come into here, and then we're able to modify it in order to pick up the next flight to San Francisco, which will be leaving at a different gate. So again, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll talk to you on the next leg.